on.
Yeah.
But that's too high. 4 is too high for Owen Wilson. He should not be ahead of. I'm not even sure I'd put him ahead of Woody Harrelson. And I wouldn't put him ahead of Mick Fleetwood.
Well, I think Mick Fleetwood should be ahead of all those guys.
But I'm trying to get Mick Fleetwood on, so I'm going to suck up to him.
I think Mick Fleetwood should be ahead of all those guys. He should be 4.
Ahead of Oprah.
No, not ahead of Oprah. You can't be ahead of Oprah.
For this week. Well, no, then I'm trying too hard.
Yeah.
Too obvious. Even he would say, well, that's too obvious.
Yeah, relax.
I ain't going to do anything.
Yeah.
All right, well then, Owen's too high for sure. See if there's... Well, they only went 8 deep. Where's the rest of them?
Maybe that's all they got.
Oh, there's got to be more than 8.
In Maui?
What's that ticking noise I hear?
Probably the fan.
Well, that's the fan. It almost sounds like a ticking noise. I'm going, what the hell does that mean? Are we on the clock or something? If I can come up with any others, let me know. But I've seen a lot of lists of celebrity residents. I haven't seen anyone who actually tried to rank them.
Yeah.
Which adds a little controversy to it, I guess. Makes it a little bit more interesting. Real quick on the Wolves, I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on it other than I believe Juan Stockton is healthy again. Everything I've seen, he's been hurt again. He's had hip issues, Rubio. But I think he's available for tonight's game. You can double-check that if you get any other information. And is there any such thing as a must victory? I don't know. It's hard to say that for the Wolves. But as we talked about for some time, once you got past the 2 gimmies at the start of this 10-game stretch or 12-game stretch, which they won both of them, Bulls in Minnesota and Sacramento there, it was going to get a lot meatier. And that started with Portland last night. And they played well enough to win through much of it and then collapsed late badly. So now you're in a point where Utah is in the mix. They're red hot. They're going to smell blood. And the gap on the I think the gap in the loss column between 3 and 9 is 1 or 0. You can double check.
Yeah, I was actually I was just looking at that.
And it was a look. I hate participating in the got to get the ball to Towns more. Towns doesn't get the ball. He's got to get the ball more because it's sometimes within a game, it's not that simple. There are circumstances that get involved. There's even performance by the player that get in that way. But when you have Butler out and you still, in a game in which he had huge numbers, you can't get him the ball or you're not concentrating on the ball or you're, again, trying to be too wing-oriented. Something's wrong. I mean, you can't go 6 minutes in that ball game without. Now, you could say, well, what if they double them? Okay, but coaches can be stubborn about trying to find ways because Towns can, as we know, play all over the damn court.
Right.
Now, he did miss. I saw him miss a 3. That must have been before. It must have been 7 or 8 minutes because I believe the stat I saw was that he didn't shoot for the last 6. But
that's amazing when you think about it.
I guess I'm the Tibbs comeback is always the same, which is he said it to us. Well, look at our efficiency. I don't know what you want. I mean, it's pretty good.
Well, it doesn't mean it can't get better.
And that's for him especially. That's his mantra. So it doesn't mean. And by the way, that doesn't mean within a 3 or 4 minute stretch, especially that the efficiency is that good. So in a game where you're already reduced on Butler, and Wiggins is not dominating. Then, to me, you have to have a more concentrated effort and at least force the double team to come and then maybe make a play off of that, I guess, is okay. Makes no sense that in a league in which you have really so few pivot options and teams that is how you – I mean, basically Portland went with 3 guards. Well, so what are you going to do? Well, go to something you can do well. Now, they got a couple of big men who are mobile.
Yeah.
That I think maybe harassed him a little bit. But I that's the answer that our offense is still top 5 is no longer good enough, especially with Butler out. You got to find a way. And if it's challenging him to not give up so easily, if that's part of the issue, moving without the ball better, whatever it is, to me, that's got to be job 1 for Tibbs and that staff right now.
Well, how much micromanaging does Tibbs do in terms of calling plays and all that? I don't know. I haven't watched him enough to know if every time they run something, if it's coming from him or if the point guard or whoever can have a little bit more freedom. Because a good point guard understands that as well too. Whether it's Teagsy or Tyusy or whatever. I mean, the best point guards understand.
Yeah.
who needs to get shots, when they need to get shots, if they haven't scored in a while, if they need to get them the ball. So I think it's a Tibbs problem, but it's also just being on the court. It's the collective group, the five of them going, all right, these guys, Crawford's taken 9 straight shots. Maybe we should mix it up a little bit. I'll call something. I'll back it out. I know they've only got 24 seconds, but that always strikes me as the players have some culpability, I think, in that as well, unless Tibbs has just said, I'm calling the plays, don't audible.
No, I think you're
nobody
right.
go off
I
of
think
it.
some of this is...
Because some of it's got to be feel for them. Like, if I'm playing and I know that Karl Anthony Towns hasn't gotten a shot in a while, I might just dribble over and tell him to post up and just say, here, take it, and we'll figure it out after that.
Old school, and if they send 2 people, don't force it, but then hopefully there's an open shot somewhere.
More often than not,
or get it back.
Yeah.
You're also allowed to get it back to him after the double.
Which a lot of great post players do, the reposition.
Yes.
The other thing that always strikes me is when he has, and this could just be when I've watched anecdotally, but you just mentioned it, you saw he may have missed a 3. Whenever there is a big gap in Karl not scoring, inevitably the shot that ends that streak is him taking a 3 somehow.
Yeah, right.
As opposed, and he can do that, right? I mean, I know he gets 2-3 happy, but he can make 3s, and I'm guessing as he progresses he'll shoot an even higher percentage. But it always seems to me like that's the shot that he gets when he hasn't had one in a while. And that the easiest shot for Karl Anthony Towns to get is going to be a 3-pointer, right?
No doubt.
When you think about it. So that just shows you that
it's pretty hard to double team a guy at the 3-point.
Yeah, and he can set a screen. He likes to pick and pop and do all that. So that just shows me lack of effort by everybody to get him the ball where he's going to be most successful, wherever that is.
That's that's going to be a tough game to win. Portland's going to be motivated. You're playing there. We know you don't have Butler. And as we said when people got all excited about us winning 2 games without Butler and the great balance, it's easier to have great balance against mediocre teams. Portland's better than mediocre. And then the other stat that you can't get past, which we can never forget, is, if I can get it to the right spot here, we were 1 for 17 from the 3-point line. They were 7 for 25,
tough way to live
which
there.
Isn't a great percentage. But you're back to, and then again, to me, you're back to, all right, we can't become a great 3-point shooting team. Then we've got to be even more, as efficient as we are, believe it or not, we've got to be even more efficient. And that means taking full advantage of how unique Towns is. And there aren't that many people who should be able to guard him. Real quick on Sean Miller. I'm all confused, and maybe you can, you're allegedly the great college basketball mind.
Yep.
Miller is now back. Miller then, after taking a game off where it looked like the predictions were no one is ever going to see Sean Miller again. He's moving to Maui.
Yeah.
Down, basically down, not far from Kaanapali Beach Hotel, and you're never going to see him again. Then yesterday, the Arizona's got a home game, and there he is. He's back. He's denying everything.
He does a press conference before the game.
Is that before
I
the
think.
game? Okay.
I know there's like I don't know if he took questions, but there was definitely a statement he gave before the game.
Right.
Then coaches the game.
Yeah, and then he gets a standing ovation coming out, and so I think a lot of people are puzzled as to what changed here. Or was it what we alluded to a couple of days ago, which was that this story was really not vetted, that regardless of how dirty college basketball is and whether he is necessarily dirty or not, that the story itself was not well sourced and no one else is confirming it, and that everybody made too many assumptions, including at the University of Arizona. I don't know. But here's my question for you specifically. As far as I know, unless I missed it, Miller never issued a statement as categorical and as emphatic as he did talking yesterday originally, or did I miss it? Did he from the beginning
I don't think we heard
lay it
anything.
out? Yeah, then you're back to, if you are as innocent as he claims he now is, and he might be, aren't you screaming that from the highest mountains from the very first moment and saying this is a made-up story? That's the part that still makes me wonder whether he's vulnerable or culpable somewhere. It almost seems like he's become bolder on the basis of maybe something he's learned about the way the media report was put together or what his attorney has told him. But I would want to scream it from the beginning, wouldn't you?
Although the call can be taken, people have already talked about the call, because the report was he was on the phone discussing a $100,000 payment to one of the players,
right.
Ayton, I think his name was. And people that I know in the coaching community wondered, well, he could have just been messing around with the guy. Technically, that could have been true. Could have been, and we'll pay him $100,000. You know what I mean? Something like that. And maybe that's why he was worried that could have been taken out of context or something. I know that's a weird way to look at it, but that's how all these guys are saying. Like, he could have been talking about anything. Who knows? And you have thousands of phone conversations, I'm sure, with runners and recruiting guys. Maybe you don't know exactly what. Maybe he did have to think about it for a second. I don't know. But your point is valid.
It's almost like I got to figure out the exact right way to say this legally.
And people have been wondering about. He very specifically said, "I did not have this discussion." With this individual about this player.
Yeah. Well, it's like Bill Clinton. He said he did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. He didn't say he didn't have them with anybody else.
Yes.
He was very specific.
He was,
of course, lying then as well.
Well, it depends on what your interpretation of the word is. And that's how you could do that. So,
right.
but the people that are thinking like you a little bit more cynically and saying, are we sure about this, are saying, well, maybe the reporters got it wrong in who he was talking about, who he was talking to, and he's denying this allegation very specifically. So
it's bizarre.
It's crazy
the way it's changed, and we don't really know what the truth is at this point, but it's worth mentioning. So, are we ever going to have a top 5 at 5 today?
We can do 520. 520.
It sounds like you're trying to, because you're in Maui doesn't mean you have to shirk your responsibility.
I've got my list right here, and Ryan's got sound for me and everything.
By the way,
ready to go.
Is it in Maui or on Maui?
You're the great island mind.
We have a consensus in our audience. Are you on Maui or in Maui?
On.
You and I, guys, been coming here since like 1952. You should have the answer on this.
On or in? We'll discuss.
I think you can go both. We'll discuss that. We'll get Russo Radio's opinion on that. I think he's a big vacation guy. I'm sure he's been here.
He's taking a moment to find destinations.
He is. He's going to Italy this summer.
And he said for the interview today he wants 9 questions about that and 2 questions about the Wild.
And 2 questions about the Athletic.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he didn't want any questions about the Wild.
Good point.
Probably.
Yeah,
but we'll still ask him what happened to the Wild last night, because it broke down badly there, just as badly as it did for the Wolves as well. And get to other matters with him as we continue day 1, the bumper to bumper field trip. Day 2 of the field trip.
Our families have both checked out of the show, by the way. They both gave a cursory, hey,
they were here for like 8 minutes.
Here's the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go back to the pool.
I can't say that I blame them, actually.
No, but it's not surprising.
Back with Russo next here on The Fan. We just found Russo Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Dateline is at Denver, Colorado. Is that where you are? Another game tonight right here on The Fan, correct, sir?
Yep. Beautiful Denver. It actually was an awesome day today, and we'll see if the Wild can rebound from a real tough loss last night.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out who collapsed more horribly last night, the Wild or the Wolves, because they both had bad finishes, and of course we didn't get to see much of either. Well, actually, the Wolves I saw a little bit on because they were on TNT in our hotel rooms here in lovely Maui, where we wish you were, by the way, Russo.
I wish I was there too. Trust me.
I mean, and I'm assuming you've been to Maui at least twice.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if it was just subconscious because you guys are there today, but all of a sudden I started playing around on the internet on the flight coming here today, looking at August potentially going to Maui or Kauai again.
You know what? August is a sneaky, wonderful time to come to the islands because there aren't as many people there. And,
very humid. I think everybody knows I'm from Florida. I can handle the humidity. So,
well, I can't, but I still don't find it as oppressive as Florida. And it's empty. Because the Gophers, Mason's first game, Glenn Mason's first game at the U was against the University of Hawaii here.
Wow.
And so I got to make that trip and actually come in a couple of days early. It's a story I'll tell later because it's kind of an interesting one. But it was there, and I was just staying around Waikiki and Oahu, but there was nobody there. I mean, it was amazing. It was remarkable. So you got good. You're thinking progressively because you'll have. There's never a bad time to come to the islands, but that'll be fun.
No, exactly. A couple of years ago, actually, I stayed at the Kauai Marriott, and I got the vice presidential suite there. So I think that's the reason nobody comes in the middle of the hot, humid summer. So
a very underrated Marriott, in my view.
Is Michael Kenny behaving himself so far?
He's on top of everything. He said he's a little disappointed in you, about doing some due diligence on the big Italy trip. But we try to talk him off the ledge.
Yeah, I know what he needs.